Welcome back for another video. I'm Eharbad, a free-to-play endgame player in Raid Shadow Legends. We are back on the challenge account for episode 9, and we have Clan v Clan starting tomorrow. So as always, let's jump into the photos first. We'll have a quick recap. Then today I want to show the builds that I currently have and talk about how these are going to change as we progress through Clan v Clan, because there's a lot of upgrades we have ready to empower the account over the next few days. Just a quick insert here. I'm going to add a poll associated with this video on YouTube, as I want to get a consensus view as to whether I should be using the Amazon Prime bonus rewards within this challenge account. It is within the rules, but I'm not sure if it's within the spirit of doing the challenge or not. And I wanted to put it out there and let the people who are watching my videos determine whether I use them or not. So first up, we managed to get our second copy of Spirit Host, which means we get to keep back one copy and fuse Justicia. So we're exactly where we want to be in terms of the number of Spirit Hosts on the account. For me, that was quite important. I wanted to keep one back. Only kind of full team cleanse we've got. Does bring big increase attack, is ultimately useful for the rare spirit secret rooms. To be honest, not terrible for faction wars either. So, we've got quite a number of use cases for a spirit host. We then managed to get the Rhonda Soul from the shop. Now this is potentially pretty big, and it might even change the order in which we 6-star our champions. So we had previously been saying we're either going to do Miscreated or Frozen Banshee as our second 60, and ultimately I was actually leaning towards Miscreated to give us better overall progression. But now Rhonda's entered the fray with a 1-star blessing. We don't have her ascended yet. We do need to wait until Wednesday when Magic Keeper's open, which is part of the overall plan that we mentioned in the last video for the missions. So it's in keeping with our objectives. So obviously we won't benefit until then. But having Brimstone is going to be massive for Doom Tower bosses, for dungeon bosses, and for clan boss. So there's actually a really strong case for Rhonda being at least the third 6-star usurping Frozen Banshee. She'll actually probably be a better candidate to help us DPS bosses in the immediate future with the Brimstone, if not potentially ahead of Miscreated Monster even as number 2. The downside obviously being that we have 2 magic damage dealing champions that really don't provide any other utility other than damage. So, it's not an obvious one. It will probably be still Miscreated that I'll do as my second 6-star. But I am hoping that during the CVC period that I'm able to at least get close to the third 6-star, if not actually achieve 3 6-stars by the end of CVC. And obviously we only have 1 right now, so if we even get 2 or 3, we're gonna have a big increase in our overall account power. Yesterday we also got speed login gear, and actually it was pretty good. Now we've had, I would say, overall bad luck when it comes to the gear we've acquired. If you think of our original starter gear, it did not roll well. We were unlucky with the speed gear we got from the novice tournament. The first set of 6-star epic relentless was all complete trash. We got some 5-star relentless from the arena tournament, the first one, that was also trash. But then yesterday, 2 days ago, we got the 6-star legendary relentless from tag team, and there were some pretty good pieces in there, which we have not yet rolled because we're waiting for CVC. We've got the overlap of CVC plus the Gaelic tournament, the hero path. So we're waiting to roll our gear to get maximum return, which is obviously again handicapping us slightly. And now we've got this speed gear here, 3 of which that I've identified as being pretty strong pieces. The gloves particularly for potentially a clan boss champion. Defense % main with crit rate and crit damage could be pretty strong. No speed sub-stat, but the fact that it's a speed set kind of compensates for that. The boots could be fantastic if we get, say, a double roll in accuracy would be what I'd hope. Obviously, you can always hope for a triple, but I think it's unrealistic. A double is at least a little bit more, keep our hopes a bit more, with a bit more realism. And then the weapon, obviously, we want to hit speed as many times as possible. Again, if we could get a double, I'd be really happy. From the clan boss chest, the hard clan boss chest, we got a rare skill tome, which will be useful during CVC. We then managed to get a 1 key on normal pretty comfortably on void. So we're beginning to refine our team. It's still pretty underpowered. Again, we only have 160 here. Frozen Banshee beginning to do some good work, being protected by Miscreated Monster. Veer trying to get that small decrease attack on the clan boss, and also giving us a little bit of heal and TM fill. So overall being pretty useful. We then got a better key on hard, which is our PB at just under 4 million, which is pretty good. That would be a 3 key on hard. Unfortunately, both yesterday and today, the hard clan boss turned force, so it's pretty much destroyed us with our quad magic champions. We then had to go into the Void Keep. If you remember, we had the mission to do in Void Keep. So we went in there. We did stage 11, 12, and 13, but 13 did not look smooth. I've got to be honest, it was a bit sketchy. Ultimately, we managed to get the mission done, which was our main objective. We then jumped into Spider, managed to get that done 5 times. We're not quite clearing stage 10 yet. I do think when we have the second 60, we'll be able to do so. I have cleared it, but it's not consistent. I did try and tweak some of the gearing and some of the champion compositions to see if I can make it consistent. I'm just lacking a bit in the power. So I think once we have the second 60, we'll be okay with it. We then did the Frozen Banshee Ascension to 5-star. I did consider holding this back until CVC had started and the champion training had started today, or at least until the champion training had started today, for some additional points. But it occurred to me with the defeat 50 champions in Classic Arena, which can be a little bit slow depending on how good your refreshes are, I didn't want to jeopardize being able to move on with everything else I needed to get done before Magic Keepers open on Wednesday. So I decided it was better not to overstretch myself in the amount that we need to get done, and just get on and ascend the champion now. Unfortunately, we were frustrated once more by the advanced quests. We were unable to defeat a faction war boss. And in fact, we have the same issue again today. It's once more defeat a faction war boss. I think that's the 5th time I've had defeat a faction war boss since we've got advanced quests. And obviously, I think 1 or 2 of the times I was able to, because we are actually able to beat 2 faction war bosses currently, and I think there's a good chance we'll be able to get 3rd down once we get miscreated to 6-star. But it's still not an easy advanced quest to be getting right at the beginning of the game, and it's quite frustrating to lose out on the energy every day that it comes up. In the Champion Chase tournament, I ultimately did get the 250 points, at least got that 500 Titan points for it. There was an argument that I could have probably secured top place and got a feast plus Relentless Gear if I'd pulled, all my shards. But then we would be in a very bad position if the fusion is good, which is our hope, is that we do get a fragment fusion and we're able to complete it. Basically, that is our main objective, is to be in a position where we're able to complete that fusion. Those 500 points did give me 100 gems, however, so it was worth pulling those additional mystery shards, in addition to, obviously, I was farming campaign and getting some campaign rares as I went, so we were topping up the champion chase points that way. This morning, I got my first hound spawn, followed up shortly after from summoning mystery shards. I managed to get myself a channeler, who's not a great champion, but does have some niche uses. Is decent for faction wars and for the rare spirit secret room. He's not the worst, but he's by no means the best either. Again, as with most of these kind of rares, I'll probably hang on to him for the time being because I just don't know what champions we're going to get, and I might end up having to use him in faction wars. We then did put the hound spawns to work with 3 diabolists and at least managed to move from a 1-star clear to a 3-star clear on stage 1. And of course, player in wants my money. Right then, so hopping back into the account, we have Clan v Clan starting tomorrow in just under 14 hours time currently. Unfortunately, the 2x is on Ice Golem and spending gems, neither of which are going to be things that we're going to be doing in any big way, although we will be investing some gems undoubtedly during this period. We have managed to do the 50 champions in Classic Arena, fortunately, so we can accept that now. We've got the upgrade and artifact level 16, which I will wait until CVC begins because we will be getting at least a return in points for that upgrade. It also coincides with the Gaelic hero path, so it's at least we'll be triple dipping at that point. We then will have to go into Ice Golem, so we'll benefit a little bit from the 2x points there. We will end up doing some minnow, most likely after we have 6-starred our second champion. It'll be good to see if we're able to progress to farm minnow 15 with, say, a 6-star miscreated and a 6-star Aethel. Might be able to do it with, say, Rhonda and Frozen Banshee in tandem. And if we are, we can then invest the gems we have, which are now 1,600 gems, so it's a decent amount. We can actually exchange those for energy and farm minnow 15 instead of buying the masteries, which is more efficient in the long run. But we'll have to see whether it's something we're able to do with just those 260s. In the clan quests, we did finish our 100 uncommon champions to rank 3, and that gives us yet more clan gold. If we go to the clan shop, we now have 2,300 clan gold, and I am going to buy not just the 1,000 energy, but the 5 rare skill tomes, and I will be buying those just before the shop refreshes, which is about an hour before the CVC begins. So we'll be well placed to use those resources as soon as CVC starts. In the Classic Arena tournament, we managed to secure 4th place, which gives us another 75 gems. That was really, for me, I think either finishing 1st or 4th is ideal. And I didn't feel that 1st was going to be within our reach. So I was trying to make sure that we ended up 4th, and we managed to do it. In fact, I did it on both my main account and on this challenge account. In our weekly arena reset, we did finish in gold 1, so hopefully we got something decent from the chest. 45 gems and an ancient shard. That I will take, irrespective of what the gear is like. That is not good. And that is not good. But, 10 brews, ancient shard, 45 gems. Thank you very much. Right, so with everything caught up, the Gaelic path is enhancement and dungeon divers, and the champion training has now started. I was hoping for a slightly more interesting champion training tournament, preferably a longer one with a legendary tome. This is a 4-day event, and it caps out an epic tome, which is not quite what I was hoping for. I'm also kind of surprised that people have gone as hard as they have. We already have someone on the top of my group at 5,500 points on day 1 of a 4-day champion training before CVC has even begun. So I'm kind of surprised. It probably won't end up being in a tournament that we're likely to win. It would be nice. Obviously, you've got Epic Tomes as the top 3. You've also got 6-star Relentless for the top 3 and the Anniversary Titan points. So if we could get a top 3 finish, that would be my hope. But if it's going to be beyond us, then I'm not going to be too bothered about it. We will complete the side rewards. And if we can't get a top 3 finish, I'll be looking to finish between 7th and 10th to get those gems. Overall, with the Gaelic champion training and the PRCVC starting tomorrow, we should have a 24-hour overlap of all 3 events, during which we're going to be going very hard. It will be difficult for us, unfortunately, because I'm going to be at work for most of the day. But, it is what it is. I've been massively struggling with silver so far. I think it's been a real slog on that front. I do find that that's been kind of the most difficult aspect so far, is actually just getting enough silver to be able to roll gear. particularly getting that gear up to level 16, which typically for me has taken anywhere between 2 and 4 million silver per piece, and I'm just not accruing silver that quickly. So I do have gear that I want to roll up, and I think once that's done, my account will really start to transform, particularly the tag team Relentless gear that we won, the login speed gear that I got yesterday, and a pair of lifesteal gloves with HP percent main and a speed sub that I got probably a week ago. I've also been saving my forging for the CVC, so we should at least earn some silver for that, if nothing else. There are a couple of things I wanted to bring your attention to, particularly Guardian set. Now, though we're only going to be crafting the very low level stuff, I do think it could be quite interesting, particularly given that regen is going to be locked up in Fire Knight for a while, and which we're not really ready to be farming yet. This Guardian set could be quite an interesting substitute. We also have the Instinct set, which could be quite interesting. We can craft up to 20 pieces now, which are coming from the Forge Pass. So fingers crossed we get a usable set. But once more, I'm holding this back so we get the extra points during CVC. We don't have much in by way of perception or resilience. Unfortunately, we're not getting a lot of the faction war materials at the higher levels just yet, but give it another couple of weeks and I think we'll be farming higher stages in more factions and have a better access to it. Right then, let's take a quick look at our builds. They are pretty ropey, so you're going to be quite shocked at just how bad they are. Aethel's probably our best built champion, and we're only really looking at 174 speed. Enough accuracy to be landing that debuff in some areas of the game, but really not that many. A reasonable amount of attack, pretty low health. Enough crit given that the A2 has a built-in 15% crit rate and pretty low crit damage. And yet this build is carrying us in a lot of content, including the progress we made in Doom Tower. When we look at Miscreated Monster, again, not a great build. At the moment, we've gone for perception, speed, and accuracy. This is probably our second best built champion on the account, and we have a 3-star shield. But it does have speed and accuracy as subs, so it's bringing what we need, even if the overall stats aren't that great. We're only looking at 20 HP for an HP-based champion. That's not that high. 1000 defense, it's pretty low. Okay speed, like not bad at 184. And enough accuracy to be landing that stun more consistently in more areas. Now remember, with the Dragon 13 run, we are using Frozen Banshee as lead, so we are benefiting from an accuracy aura, which is what's giving us enough to be landing our debuffs consistently. If we look at the Ronda build, once more, we have decent gear, but not great by any stretch of the imagination. These gloves I would quite like to have at 16, but at the same token, the substats that I've rolled so far really aren't that great, so I don't want to invest the silver in them for now, because I hope to find something better, but it does mean that we're not having quite the level of build that we would otherwise have. She is only a 5-star currently, but these are the stats we're currently working with. Again, we're not looking at particularly great champions in terms of the build, but we are managing to make them work. We are managing to find a way to have a decent team composition and synergy to be able to progress. Frozen Banshee, I have started to put some bits of lifesteal onto her, but she is wearing 2 pieces of perception, or rather 2 sets of perception and 2 pieces of lifesteal. In terms of total stats, I've favoured slightly more defense, speed, and accuracy on her. So we're really looking to build up the defensive stats and the accuracy. Ideally, I'd like to get her into 4-piece lifesteal with 2-piece perception. We just don't quite have the quality of gear to do it. On this 5-star chest lifesteal, we have rolled it up to 16, mostly because it got the accuracy sub on the 3rd substat. I was hoping for speed along with accuracy, in which case this piece would actually last us a very long time. And I have a pair of 5-star boots also at 16. We're very starved for lifesteal that's going to be usable in Clan Boss. So although these aren't great pieces objectively, they are worth investing in because we are going to need them critically on our account, and it's going to be difficult to find lifesteal gear through Dragon that has the correct main stat. It simply can't be relied on, and that's why farming campaign for lifesteal can be a good way to go. Now, past those 4 champions, it really deteriorates fast. With a Veer, we have extremely low speed, enough accuracy for landing the debuffs, okay defense, and pretty low HP. The defensive stats really aren't that bad given he's only a 4-star 40, but the speed is a bit of a shocker. And that's because after those 4 champions, we run out of level 16 boots. After a Veer, the next key champion that I've been using quite a lot is Jamasa, who is in a regen set. Again, we don't have a lot of levels in the gear. It's mostly level 8 and 12, very slow once more. Trying to get a bit of defensive stats into her, but ultimately just far too slow. But it's kind of just about doing a job until we get more gear. That's kind of what we're having to work with. War Maiden, slightly better build overall, got much better speed and enough accuracy, but the defensive stats are really, really struggling. Particularly this very, very low defense stat. War Maiden has always suffered from being very squishy and has an incredibly low base defense. Ultimately, being able to get a ring and an amulet that are flat defense main stat will be massive in terms of boosting up her survivability. Obviously, as will ranking her up to 5 or potentially 6-star in the future. Now, outside of those champions, I haven't really been using anyone else in extensively. Started trying to find a way of getting Diabolis to work, but I just don't have the gear to make her be usable really currently. Similar with Commander, used him a bit, but then the build became too poor to scale up, but did use him to beat, but did use him in Faction Wars. And the same with Valerie. Early on, this build was working, but quickly fell off with the incredibly low speed. But I did use that initial shield set. So really, with where we've progressed in the game, we've ended up having a pool of 7 champions that are viable, of which 2 of them are incredibly slow. But we will be advancing the builds once CVC begins. As before we mentioned, we've got those speed pieces. We've also got this pair of gloves in lifesteal, which hopefully will at least hit the speed substat once, if not twice. And then we have the 6-star relentless stuff. Right, so that's going to be that for today's catch-up. I think there will be a more interesting video to show a little bit more progression and actual gameplay once we've got that 2nd or 3rd 6-star locked in, particularly as I try and push through Minotaur. What I'll try and do is once I've, say, got the 2nd 6-star secured and I'm going into Minotaur and seeing if we can get to Minotaur 15, I'll probably record those runs and talk about as we watch each run to see if we think we'll be able to do the next stage and what we think we might need to tweak to get there. So as always, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.